It's quite fair, isn't it?
Everything in Elodie's body works fine, but her brain just doesn't talk to any of it. So there's nothing wrong with her eyes, and there's nothing wrong with her ears, and there's nothing wrong with her hands. Her brain just doesn't tell them how to work. Pregnancy was absolutely fine. Then she came 8 weeks early. She was put on a monitor when we got there, and they said that she had a dip in her heart rate. So they wanted to keep us in overnight for monitoring. The doctors came in and said that they needed to get this baby out in 15 minutes. So they rushed us down to theatre. Then she was taken straight to NICU. And then over the course of the next 3 or 4 days, she started presenting with symptoms of an oxygen starvation. Then she went for an MRI, and then they told us that she had a severe brain injury. Survival would be rare. She wouldn't swallow, walk, talk, cry, anything. So we were in NICU for 60 days.
I'm going to stop now.
So I met Scott in Australia about 6 years ago. He'd had 2 children there. They were 3 and 6, I think, when we met. I think when Elodie was born and we got the news that she had a brain injury and obviously the level of care that she'd require, and the NHS have to tell you the worst case scenario, and I get that from their point of view, but I think when you're finding out something as severe as that, it's probably the worst thing they can do, because you lose hope. I refused to, but he lost that hope. He just listened to everything they said and was like, that's it, that's our life over. He lost his mum in the January, and that absolutely floored him on top of this. And then after a few attempts, he committed suicide in May of 2022. Just couldn't fight anymore for her. He was convinced that she wasn't going to survive. So that just left me and her. So we applied to wheelchair services to get Elodie a chair, because at this point she was starting to show signs of scoliosis, so her spine was starting to curve, and she's just in a regular buggy. We went to the wheelchair assessment place, and after explaining to them how my knees are really weak, I live in a house that is not fit for purpose with a special needs child, and I'm on my own, and the buggies that they were showing me were really cumbersome, 25 plus kilos. The chap just looked at me and went, yeah, they're probably not right for you. Again, I'm back to this fight now. I'm now going to have to fight for a buggy that suits Elodie. So I did some research and I found a buggy called a Hoggy Buggy that is perfect. It's narrow, it's half the weight of the other ones. You can turn it, so with Elodie's respiratory issue, she can face me. £6,000. So why? The NHS one's a fraction of that.
This is Elodie. You're going to say hello? You say hello? Oh, good girl.
In Elodie's 2 years, we've been privately fundraising for the majority of her equipment, and it's not just the things that people expect you to fundraise for. She's on a CBD oil to stop her seizures. That's £500 a month. What I find with fundraising is you only have a select amount of people that you can approach to raise money for, and
Thank you.
you start needing a buggy and you raise money for that, or you raise money for the walker, and then something else will come along. And how many times can you keep going back to those same pool of people asking them to help you? And we've generously been given the money for a buggy from the Children's Charity. And I think what makes them so special is the fact that they understand that it isn't just a one-off piece of equipment that we will require for Elodie. It was the easiest of all my battles since Elodie was born. It was the quickest process, the easiest process. What you find with having a special needs child is you have to go over and over and over what has happened to you. You didn't have that with this. It was 4 really quick questions. And I think it was in a matter of days we had an answer. And I got an email on a Sunday and I was at my brother's house and I burst into tears, turned around to my dad and went, oh my God, finally someone's on our side, finally. My hopes for the future, I just want her to live. That is if she can have a life, a pain-free life, then we've won, because we were told that wouldn't happen. As stupid as it sounds, my biggest milestone for her would be to see her smile, because she's never smiled before. So that would be her biggest achievement for me, because at least then I'd know she was happy. You're my life, know what you put in. We just, yes, you are.